Dr. Chris, orthopedic surgeon and sports medicine physician. And today, I'm looking at Bianca Andreescu, the next Serena Williams. What will it take?
Okay.
So if you don't know who she is, Bianca Andreescu is a Canadian tennis player who just won the US Open. Freaking amazing. So as of September 9th, 2019, this young lady was ranked 5th by the Women's Tennis Association. She defeated Serena Williams in the 2019 final of the US Open to become the first Canadian and the first player who was born in the 2000s to win a Grand Slam singles title. Did I mention already? She's Canadian. Go Canada. So all of these are amazing feats, and they're amazing for a number of reasons. First of all, she's only 19. She's 19 and Serena Williams is 37. She's basically half the age of Serena, which means that Serena has as much years of experience as Bianca has years alive. That is a lot of experience. Another reason why these accomplishments are so amazing is because Bianca has been plagued with shoulder injuries. And in fact, last year, she was ranked no higher than 164 as a result of her recurrent injuries and her inability to compete on a regular basis. In only May of this year, Bianca was forced to withdraw from a competition after having just returned following a 2-month layoff because of right shoulder pain. Bianca had not picked up a racket since she was forced to retire in the 4th round of competition in Miami in March of 2019. At the time, her coach Sylvain Bruneau had stated to the media that she had experienced a small tear in her subscapularis muscle, one of the 4 muscles of the rotator cuff. This injury had been bothering her for some time, and eventually, after having to withdraw from her match in Miami, she had to seek treatment with PRP, or platelet-rich plasma. After receiving treatment with PRP and physiotherapy, she was eventually able to return to play in time for the US Open. And play she did. So there are 4 questions that we want to answer when it comes to Bianca, this injury, and what it means for her. First of all, what is the injury that she has? Why does she have it? What does this injury do to affect her ability to play? And lastly, what does she need to do to overcome it to become the next Serena Williams? So what is this injury? Well, as I mentioned, she has a tear to the subscapularis muscle. And for ease of understanding, I often say to patients, think of the rotator cuff muscles as the front wall, the roof, and the back wall of a house. The subscapularis is the front wall, the infraspinatus and the supranatus are the roof, and the teres minor is the back wall of the house. Together, these 4 muscles make up the rotator cuff, and they have a number of functions in the shoulder. First, their job is to hold the humeral head in its appropriate location on the glenoid or the cup of the shoulder. Also, their job is to help with the initiation of movements of the arm. This means that when you first start to move the arm in any direction, it's the rotator cuff muscles that are being activated first. And lastly, these muscles help with the fine coordination of movements of the arm. The subscapularis is the biggest of the 4 rotator cuff muscles, and it's the one that's located in the front wall of the house. Its job is to help with internal rotation. And this means rotating your arm so that your thumb comes toward the midline. Obviously, because she is still able to do this movement, we know that the injury that she has is not a complete tear of the tendon. We know that it is only a partial tear because she is still able to internally rotate her arm without great difficulty. If she had a complete rupture of the subscapularis tendon, or a complete tear of this muscle, then she would have extreme difficulty in internally rotating her arm with force, and she would experience a significant amount of pain when she did so. So why does Bianca Andreescu have this injury in the first place? As tennis is a racket sport that involves the upper extremities, it should come as no surprise that injuries of the upper extremity are quite common in tennis players. Tennis players are known to experience injuries at each of the joints of the upper extremity, the wrist, elbow, and shoulder quite commonly. At the level of the shoulder, injuries to the glenoid labrum and to the rotator cuff are the injuries that are most commonly observed. In fact, a recent study by Krieger et al. Shows that shoulder injuries are the second most common reason for departure from competition for tennis players.
What you say?
And this in no way should be surprising because their shoulders see repetitive stress of an overhead nature, meaning they're putting their arms overhead all the time for like many repetitions. Bianca in particular is well known for her powerful serve and her extremely powerful forehand. One of the commentators at the US Open stated that he believed Bianca to have the most powerful forehand of all female tennis athletes. And wouldn't you know that the subscapularis, the muscle that controls internal rotation of the arm, is the main muscle that allows her to generate force in her forehand and in her overhand serve. So, when you combine the extreme force generation with the frequent repetition of overhand serves and forehands over a long period of time, it's not really surprising that the tendon of the subscapularis should start to become inflamed and eventually start to tear, such as in the case with Bianca Andreescu. As a result of the way in which she plays the game and the traits for which she is known, we can expect all of her musculature on the front side, including the subscapularis of the rotator cuff and her pectoralis muscles on her chest wall, to be overdeveloped, because these are the muscles that she uses to generate force when she is serving or when she's performing a forehand. We can expect the muscles on the posterior or the back half of her body to be less developed because she spends less time using these muscles in play. This would include the teres minor of the rotator cuff and to some extent the infraspinatus, as well as the deltoids between her shoulder blades. As a result of the overdevelopment of the muscles on the front half of her body, we can expect her scapula to be pulled forward and tilted slightly towards the front hand side, instead of being retracted posteriorly and seated in its upright position where it is normally situated. This forward protraction and elevation of the scapula leads to a problem called scapular dyskinesis. It's a big word. Just means that the scapula is not moving the way that it should be. And this problem can lead to crowding of the rotator cuff, particularly when your hand is overhead. And this is a problem for tennis players because their hand is overhead a lot, like every freaking time they serve. When you combine all of these things together, this sounds like the perfect recipe for Bianca to mess her shoulder up. And the rotator cuff is just the spot for these problems to appear. So how then would this injury affect her ability to play? Well, as I mentioned, Bianca is well known for a powerful forehand and for a powerful serve. And as I stated before, the subscapularis is the muscle which helps to generate forward movement of the arm and internal rotation of the arm. If she has tendinitis or a partial tear of the subscapularis tendon, then she will experience pain when using that muscle, and this will leave her less able to generate force for that powerful forehand or that powerful serve for which she is known. And without these two secret weapons, her ability to defeat her opponents may be limited. So what then does she need to do to overcome this injury and become the next Serena Williams? Well, the first thing that she needs to do is she needs to actually stick around, and be here for a long period of time. Because as I said, she is basically one half of Serena Williams' age. So in order to be that good, you need to be around for a while, which means that you need to keep your body in shape to be there. As this injury is a result of repetitive stress and muscle imbalances, she will need to correct both of these things if she expects to be around for as long as Serena Williams at a competitive level. Now, she's a competitive tennis player, and this means practice. Lots of freaking practice, which also means that it's gonna be difficult for her to minimize the repetitive stress that her arm or shoulder sees. So while she may not be able to decrease the overall number of repetitions that she performs while practicing, she may need to be smarter about the way that she does her practice so that she spreads out the repetitions over a longer period of time. Or instead, she uses cross-training with other methods of practice or other methods of training so that her shoulder does not see the exact same stress all of the time. In addition, it's important for her to correct the muscle imbalances that have helped to lead to this problem in the first place. And while her subscapularis and pectoralis muscles are overdeveloped because of her strong forehand and strong serve, she really needs to spend some time developing the muscles on the backside. In other words, the posterior aspect of the rotator cuff, the infraspinatus and teres minor, and also the deltoids, the periscapular muscles, to ensure that the scapula is pulled back or retracted and restored to its upright position to maximize the space that's available for the shoulder when she is lifting her arm overhead. And while for her style of play, it's important that the pectoralis and subscapularis are super developed so that she can generate all that power. All that power. It's also important that the muscles on the backside be developed so that she can make sure she is around for 19 freaking years so she can become the next Serena Williams. It is extremely important for Bianca to include periscapular strengthening and upper back conditioning as part of her prehabilitation so that she avoids injury and the need for rehabilitation to make sure that she is able to continue playing at the level that she is right now. And while injuries of the shoulder are very common in tennis, so too are injuries of the other joints of the body. And for more information on problems common in tennis, check out my other video on Grand Slam tennis injuries. I'll leave a link in the description down below. It is extremely important that Bianca spend time training mobility so that she can maximize the longevity of her ability to remain competitive in the sport that she loves. And for more information on mobility exercises for the shoulders and all of the joints of the upper and lower extremity, be sure to check out our exercise library on the Human 2.0 YouTube channel. Link is down below. So there you have it. That's it for my discussion today of Bianca Andreescu and what it will take for her to become the next Serena Williams. And as always, that's been a word from Dr. Chris, not your everyday ortho.
Just a flesh wound.